Now, amidst the talk of cuts and job losses, the Coalition have been at pains to point out that creating new private sector jobs is at the heart of their strategy to avoid a dreaded double-dip recession. Strange, then, that in his emergency budget, the Chancellor scrapped a planned tax break to help out Britain's billion-pound video games industry. Bad news for jobs here, great news for our rivals around the world, who hope they can tempt our best programmers away. Well, David Thompson is our man with the joystick.
So, we start on Bum Mountain.
Now you can make the air guitar and bang the head like a rock star.
The Joker has been apprehended. Batman is now en route to Arkham Island.
Video games, where geeks can be heroes and Brits are the best. We might be rubbish at football, we might never win Wimbledon again, but we are good with our fingers and thumbs. This is the Develop Conference in Brighton, jam-packed with clever clogs from around the world. They're here because our video games industry is now a really big deal.
Economically very important. It contributes £1 billion to UK GDP. It generates £415 million every year in tax receipts for the Treasury. It employs 30,000 people, many of them in very highly skilled jobs, and it's very export focused, just the kind of sector the UK economy needs in the future to rebalance.
Just the kind of people, in fact, you'd think a government would want to support. And before the election, Labour gave the industry a multi-million-pound tax break. The Lib Dems and the Conservatives backed the move. So, when the Coalition came to power, what did it do? Well, obviously, it scrapped the tax break, much to the astonishment of some of those actually in the Coalition.
I know that the minister now responsible, Ed Vaizey, was as disappointed as I was about the Chancellor's decision, and you can be assured that both Ed Vaizey and I went together to see the Chancellor before the budget to urge on him the importance of accepting this tax break. So I'm sadly beyond my pay grade to be able to explain the Chancellor's decision.
I can't emphasise enough, particularly after the budget, that I am not the Chancellor.
No, you're Ed Vaizey. And if I was addressing a room full of games developers, I'd put a bit of distance between myself and the Chancellor too. Well, of course, maintaining loyalty.
I think George Osborne just took a long, hard look at what he wanted to achieve in his budget, which, as I say, was an across-the-board, rational, low-tax regime for business, and that was his main focus, and I think that's what he decided to go for in his budget. And it's his budget, not my budget.
But it's not just trouble on the home front. Believe it or not, the British video games industry is under attack. From the Canadians.
Yes, the Canadians. They're stealing our nerds. They're poaching our geeks, and they'd like to get their hands on our boffins as well. Why? Because they reckon that the video game industry will be one of the key parts of the new economy, and they want to make sure they're world leaders. Take this. It's a dummy Canadian passport, but have a look inside. It spells out the benefits and incentives available to developers who relocate to the land of the Manti. The irony? It was being handed out at an event designed to boost the British video game industry.
We're competing on a very uneven playing field. So the Canadians are a major threat to our industry.
There are government-funded organisations that are going out there and calling and emailing, British companies.
They've actually been phoning people up?
Oh, they've phoned companies.
The Canadians are really serious about this. They have identified the fact that the games industry is part of their country's strategy. They're doing everything right.
It's not just the odd phone call. There's a blizzard of tax credits and perks on offer to the top British talent. And those nice Canadians are completely unrepentant about that.
Well, I think a lot of people are looking at Canada and saying, how are they doing this? They're taking all our jobs. How are they attracting our investment, and we're not able to keep them here? But as they say, all's fair in love and war. We're just simply trying to promote the video game industry in general, promote what Canada has to offer, and we'll take the best and the brightest. We'll take your investment. We're certainly, we've, as a nation, made it a priority and invested a lot in this industry. And we're hoping that will pay off with our continued growth and our continued dominance in the video game space.
So, what does the Minister in charge make of those relentlessly cheerful Canadians?
Well, the Canadian government has made a decision to get behind the video games industry and to create a video games industry virtually out of nothing. But I think that there are, it's still a relatively level playing field, because while the Canadians are putting in a lot of kind of direct financial support, it's very hard to create the kind of ecology that we have in this country. Video games have been around for 50 years. We've been at the forefront of video games development in this country, and that's very hard to replicate.
If ministers really want the video games industry to help rescue the British economy, they need to act now. Because our rivals, even the friendly ones, are in this game to win.